And welcome back to episode 193 of the Weekly Tech Rant with me, Jay.
And me, Karl.
Well, Karl, we are in our penultimate episode of 2024.
We are. It's nearly Christmas.
Shh, don't say those words. So this is our last proper episode of the year. I mean, as in one that we're going to talk tech stories. As mentioned last week, next week will be our wrap-up episode. So we're going to talk about, I guess, stuff we're looking forward to in 25, maybe hints of CES, because that's not that far away. Maybe a look back on some of the games and films and obviously stuff that's coming in 25 as well that we're interested in. So yeah, it should be a good show and a chance to kind of, go off topic a little bit more than we usually do.
Definitely.
So this week we've had the release of iOS 18.2. So everybody's now got access to Apple Intelligence or
well, as long as you don't live in the EU.
Well, this is true, my friend. This is true. They don't want it anyway. We also got macOS 15.2, excuse me, was also released as well, which is really good to see. I mean, I don't know, like I say, I've been running it since October, so it's not really new to me. But
it's a bit old hat now, isn't it?
Well, there is rumours that 18.3 beta could be coming soon as well.
Also, the fact that all these extended deployments to the point releases are going to have an impact on iOS 19.
I read that as well. Yeah, they reckon it's going to push the 19 back out, don't they? Or at least parts of it.
So will this be the first time ever where we get a second phone with the same OS as the last one? Could we see the new iPhones releasing with iOS 18 point something or other?
I don't think they will. I think Apple will ensure that it comes with iOS 19. Whether or not
is that iOS 18 when they've just scribbled out the 18 using Apple
AI
AI and put 19 in there?
Put a line for it. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see about that. We'll see about that. In completely different news, did you see the other day that CD Projekt has revealed The Witcher 4?
Oh, we knew that'd be coming. We knew the next big game was going to be a Witcher one.
Yeah, I'm well chuffed about that. But the protagonist is now Ciri, not the aforementioned Witcher. Geralt, or whatever his name was.
Yes.
Geralt. Yeah. So, but yeah, I saw that earlier. I'm looking forward to that. So this week, then, we've got a bit of a mix-up of stories. We're going to talk China. We're going to talk Apple. Yeah, always a bit of Apple, isn't it? A lot of OpenAI. A touch of Intel, and back with the rumor mill, ending on another Apple story as well. But at that point, let's kick off then the first story of the week, which is probably should have been titled "China Bites Back." I think is probably.
I think so. I think they've taken enough crap, and they're kicking back.
They are. So China has announced that they will no longer allow the export or sale of key materials that are used in silicon or chip making as well. So this is a gallium, a germanium, antimony. Isn't that something you pay when you get divorced?
That's alimony, isn't it?
Oh yes. Alongside several other key minerals, which again are used, in high-end electronics and
But they're also they're going to be not blocked. They're also scrutinising shipments of graphite as well.
Oh yes, which again is a very key material, isn't it?
Yeah. So according to the old Chinese Ministry of Commerce, this is to safeguard national security. This is after the Biden administration that they announced sanctions. Was it Monday? Basically, going to make it harder for Chinese companies to produce advanced semiconductors, specifically on equipment and software used to manufacture the high bandwidth memory chips you need for doing all that AI processing. It's also added another 140 new Chinese companies to the banned export list.
The Biden administration here is just playing hard and fast, isn't it, with some of these things? I think they seem to forget where a lot of technology comes out of, not necessarily China, but you think Taiwan, and obviously a lot of the issues. Now, obviously Taiwan isn't banned here, but what I mean is the fact that, China is threatening invasion. They're saying that at some point they're going to take it back. And, what is made in Taiwan? Pretty much most chips.
Everything.
Yeah.
TSMC.
Exactly.
Taiwan, something or other it is, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Clues in the name.
And of course, what we've also got alongside this is the threat again for the Trump administration that's coming in next January, which is obviously threatening tariffs on Chinese goods. I mean, this is just going to end in a trade war, isn't it?
Well,
really?
that's not actually going to affect China, though, is it? That's going to affect the populace of the US.
Well, true, but
all paying
I guess
higher things. But I suppose ultimately it does because China may sell less, but China's not going to cut their pricing.
no, they're not. This is nuts, isn't it? And I know, they're saying it's national security, both sides, because the US don't want the Chinese making, chips for high-end, weapon systems and that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really think that's going to stop them, is it? To be honest with you,
No.
let's be honest. There's espionage happening underneath this. Just banning the sale of stuff isn't going to stop them finding out information. And to be fair to them, I'm pretty confident there are a lot of Chinese organizations or research institutes that probably are doing the same high-level research that the US are doing.
Yeah. The difference is that China has a lot less lax laws when it comes to human rights, and hence why all your electronics are very, very cheap. Now, the US can do a similar thing, can't they? But it's going to be a lot more expensive to do it based in the US.
You're not referring to my AliExpress orders, are you?
Maybe. I mean, I've ordered a few times from AliExpress. The wife has used Temu once or twice, so that's always a bit questionable. It's even more questionable than AliExpress.
Well, I was going to say, the other one is the other fast fashion app is Shein, isn't it?
Oh no, not looked at that one yet, but
which is worse. Shein is the one where there is a lot of concern over A, the cost of the items because they're ridiculous. B, obviously how they're producing so many items into the billions of items a year in the fashion. So yeah, very different laws and regulation. But this is going to have an impact at some point. It's probably not going to have a straight away impact, but it will do in the long term if the supply chain, if they restrict the export of these materials. Now, obviously, they're not the only producers of these materials, but the bulk of them are coming out of China. But China wants to be a technology superpower, and it is not far off it. To be fair,
No.
look at the rise in the last 30 years of how their economy and technology, in particularly, have gone hand in hand. And the US, I guess, does feel threatened, don't they?
I would imagine so, but the US won't be able to compete on the manufacturing.
No, of course they won't.
Great coming up with the ideas, but someone actually needs to build it for you.
Not from the cost, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, your iPhone instead of being 1,200 quid will be 12,000.
Yeah, and what exactly the point? Why are iPhones and other equipment made in India, Indonesia, Vietnam, etc.?
Cheap labour,
isn't it?
Ridiculously cheap labour compared to cost of employing someone in the UK or the US.
Yeah, and look, I'm not sitting here and saying that celebrating that, but it's a fact of capitalism, unfortunately, isn't it? So.
Of course.
Well, talking of manufacturing and outside of it, there is a story coming out of from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman that he now suggests that the new 5G modem that Apple have been working on for several years following their acquisition of the Intel modem business, which we were hoping to see this year, weren't we? But is now likely to turn up next year in the new phones that are coming out next year, so the iPhone 17s and the SE4. According to him in a story that he's wrote, there are rumors that the modem is not as good as the current generation of Qualcomm modems that they are using today.
No.
Well, that's a bit of a worry.
I was trying to look for it. So this is codename Synop or Synope, or I don't know. Yeah, that's his codename. But basically, the Apple modem isn't going to support MM-Wave technology. Although I believe outside of the US, there aren't any carriers that use MM-Wave.
No.
And only in the US, I think there's 2 carriers, and it's only in large cities because it's good for dense buildings. But it's only going to support 4 carrier-grade aggregations, while the Qualcomm can support 6 or more. Again, I don't know how much that feature is used or not. But I mean, so it's going to be slow apparently, but it's still going to be able to do 4 gigabits a second download.
Well, it's not exactly that slow then, is
so
it?
It's,
really?
I mean, I've seen some fast speeds, but I don't think I've ever done 4 gigabits a second. I don't think I've even done 2. 1 might be stretching it. So yeah, I mean, is it a great loss? I don't know. 4 gigabytes a second on your phone is quite considerable.
Absolutely.
It's more than most home broadbands in the US. So I think they're probably okay on that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, given the speed, 4 gigabit a second, if you were to get that anywhere on cellular, I would be blown away. To get a solid gig connection on cellular as well on 5G, because let's be honest, at least here in the UK, the promise of 5G versus the reality of it are vastly different, aren't they?
They are. They really. I mean, our local train station, it's cracking, but anywhere else in Bedford, no. I don't know what it is about a train station. I did a speed test last time. I did get over 500 meg or something,
Yeah,
which was
I
quite
get
considerable.
I get vastly different speeds, at nowhere near the the advertised, or not even advertised, the kind of specs that we were told we were going to get when they were touting 5G as this
Yeah,
amazing solution. But as we know, 5G clearly obviously offers more bandwidth, not necessarily faster speeds in most cases, isn't it?
yeah.
So,
There we
but
go. 743 meg down and 72 meg up, which was outstanding.
unbelievable, unbelievable. But alongside this, German also is saying that it is going to take a few years for
It
Apple
is,
to
yeah.
completely remove the Qualcomm modems from their lineup, and that will give them a run up to produce more advanced versions of this modem, which would include all of these features and
Yeah.
obviously ultimately faster speeds.
So there's two versions. There's a 2026 version that will apparently support Wave, along
I
with
love to see.
6 carrier aggregations, giving up to 6 gigabits per second speed. And the one after that in 2027 is expected to include the satellite support.
And which is very cool. Let's be honest.
It is. So
So
this is interesting, though.
if they
So,
go
yeah,
well,
sorry,
go
go
on.
ahead.
I was just saying, you said mentioned about satellite piece there.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen in the next iPhones then? Are they going to retain the
Well,
Qualcomm
they're
chips
looking to put it first in the SE4 and the iPhone 17, aren't they?
which don't have that
So,
capability?
well, iPhone 17 Air, sorry, it's not 17 Air, not the normal one. So the SE4 currently doesn't have it. Okay. And interestingly, at the end of the year, they'll stop selling the current SE in Europe, along with the iPhone 14 and the 14
Because of the
Plus, because
USB
no
C.
USB-C.
Yeah,
So at
yeah.
some point, until they bring out the SE4 or the iPhone 17, there's going to be no SE in Europe for however long that one takes. Yes, I mean, I can't imagine the iPhone 17 Air shipping without satellite when it's in the is it in the entire 16 lineup?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it is in the entire 16 lineup, pros and non-pros. So for the
I think it
17
might
not to
be.
have
Yeah,
that would be a kind of glaring omission, really.
yeah. I granted, not everybody is using it
No,
because
no, but it's one of the things they tout as a differentiator, and not to put it in. I know the 17 isn't going to be the high-end tech spec one, but it's meant to be a flagship device,
hmm,
and to drop that would seem a bit crazy.
it would, wouldn't it? Really, you'd be stepping backwards in terms of capability than the previous generation.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not surprised. Building a modem from scratch, regardless of whether you've taken on
well, you
someone
bought
else's
Intel's
business.
modem division, didn't you?
Yeah, and effectively they built the modems from scratch using the talent, the team, and the technology that they've got.
Yeah.
But Qualcomm, let's be honest, Qualcomm are a leader in their space in that, and to come out with the first product that's going to beat them, yeah, it's going to be hard. And again, I think with Apple, they're not looking to do that. And it's the same with a lot of stuff Apple does, isn't it? The first iteration is not about being, a leapfrog over it. It's about doing it better than the standard existing version of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess for them, is it going to be a reliable modem? Is it going to provide, decent Wi-Fi capability, stronger signal acquisition, and work, and also more importantly, power consumption and things like that? And then you're right, they will bring out new versions. I mean, I guess a bad example, but you kind of see where I'm going with it, is the M1 chip. M1 chips were mind-blowingly quick compared to the Intel from an efficiency perspective, weren't they?
Yep.
And if you look at it, you could argue, well, yeah, but look at the Intel whatever version at the same time. It's faster on that. Yeah, it is. But when you take all those parts together and you look at what Apple do as a system on a chip, and the same with the phones, it works as a package, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you to take those individual components out, yeah, they're probably not great. But I'm guessing that these new modems when they come out will allow Apple to get better power consumption, more efficiency in the devices, all that kind of stuff, which they're hoping to do, which makes the phone, the iPad, whatever it is going to be, a more attractive device to the consumer. So it's not the shock, I don't think.
No, no. Interested to see how that plays out. What was a shock though was the kind of next article. So,
Well, yes.
well, when Apple released Vision Pro, there were no controllers with it. It was all about using your hands because that is the natural way to do things. Well, it seems, according to Mark Gurman, they might have had a change of mind on that one, if the rumors are true. So, Apple and Sony are apparently collaborating to enable the PlayStation VR2's Sense controllers to be compatible with the Apple Vision Pro headset. I mean, the immediate obvious kind of thing I can think of here is for games. Okay,
Well, yeah, it's
hands
the only thing I
don't
can
really
think of.
work in games. You should got more buttons. You know, if you're holding a gun, great, you can mimic that in the hand, trigger maybe your finger. But how do you reload and how do you throw a grenade and all those kind of things? You need more buttons for gaming. So it'd be interesting to see if that actually happens and these PlayStation controls actually work with the Vision Pro.
And I think more surprising is the fact that this, rumor of Sony working with Apple, and this is Sony, don't forget, who effectively touted the VR2
Hmm.
headset and controllers to work on PC. Then when they delivered it, gave us a nobbled version that really just was pointless,
And
wasn't
it's
it?
still novel. Doesn't really work like the PlayStation one does. And no reason for
No,
it other than Sony disabling it.
no. So now they're effectively saying, well, yeah, the headset versus the Vision Pro is pretty naff. Well, we probably agree with that,
Yep, yep.
But actually, here, why don't you let the controllers work and you can do more with games? What? Sorry, this is the same company that a minute ago was struggling to.
But Sony
Oh,
doesn't actually sell the controllers separately.
No, but they're going to be. Well, clearly by the
I
look of it.
presume, yes, I presume they're going to. How much of a markup will that be if you're selling it to the Apple crowd?
Oh gosh, yes, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, apparently this was initially expected weeks ago, this kind of announcement, but it has been postponed for some time. So I don't know when it's going to be, or maybe Apple's cancelled the whole thing, or I don't know. But yeah, maybe not.
I mean, I don't know how this fits in with Apple in the gaming space. I mean, from my best of my understanding, I didn't believe they were doing too much in terms of gaming anyway on the Vision Pro beyond some of the rudimentary stuff. It was
Maybe
more
it's
about
feedback they've had from developers, that want to use it for gaming, but it's just too limited in a controller sense.
Yeah, but I'm guessing their argument was if you had a controller, we could make some amazing games. Given the processing
Yeah.
power that's on there,
Yep.
it's
Yeah,
not like
exactly.
it's not like the Quest, the Quest where you're limited by, let's be honest, a low end Android device, realistically, isn't it?
Yeah.
This allows them to do great stuff, and I imagine you could probably have some pretty impressive VR gaming experiences on the Vision Pro if there was controllers.
Talking of VR gaming, I did cave in the sale and buy the Ghostbusters game for the Quest 2. It's very
Any good?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've only had a quick 20-minute go so far. It's teaching you how to use the proton pack and the scanner and the bit that catches the ghost. So great fun. It'd be even better on the Quest 3 with a mixed reality, but I haven't got that one yet.
I do you know I just haven't really done much of any games like that. I mean, the only VR stuff I've been playing obviously is DCS and stuff like that.
Oh, you don't have a standalone, do you? Yours is tied to the PC,
but I haven't gone any and bought any of the games, the VR games, if you will.
Yeah, I got it for I think £4, and I thought £4, I'll just give it a go.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, you're right. It's a cup of coffee, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, so I'll play a bit more, and then one weekend I'll take it in the living room, let the kids all have a go on it. They'll love it.
Yeah, not bad. Talking in VR though, I had a quick go of Flight Sim the other day again, 2024.
Yeah.
I'm just the fact that my hands on throttle and stick just doesn't work. No, it does work, but it doesn't work. If that makes sense,
Yeah. So what's you got again? You've got the
X55.
See, I've got the X56. Plugged it in, detected straight away. You're right. The old when you move the stick, it doesn't show the axis when you're configuring it. I think that's just a general bug. But yeah, it works straight out of the box, really.
So mine was recognised, as in the game knew they were there.
Yeah.
You're right. The axis controls doesn't. You're right. That doesn't show. You can't.
Doesn't visually show, but it works in the game for me.
I've mapped, and and none of the controls are mapped. I had to manually map all the flight surfaces.
No, mine are mapped, but I couldn't tell you what they were. I need to spend like 10, 20 minutes sitting there figuring out what they actually are.
What I mean is, though, I had to go in and go to primary control service,
do every single one,
pitch up and down, and move the controller. And then the game, it just doesn't seem to respond at all. It doesn't work. It flies left to right. Throttles are in. It doesn't. Basically, it does not work. Which I've been wanting a new hot ass for a while, and
annoyingly, it's Christmas.
Well, as I say, annoyingly, I feel this is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same with DCS. I did get a DCS up and running in VR the other day, and managed to get all my controller profiles imported because I took backups before wiping my PC, so that all worked. But I haven't plugged in the rudders because I think they're bust. But could I get DCS to map to the rudder on the joystick? Where you twist the hand.
No, I don't have that problem. That works fine for me.
Could not seem to get that to work. So, I couldn't actually turn on the runway.
Oh, see, that's the problem. I haven't got that problem at all. DCS Touchwood works absolutely
Everything
fine.
else is working beautifully, but no, I just could not get. I couldn't actually take off because I couldn't get from the hangar to the runway.
That's quite
Not
funny.
without hitting a building.
Oh dear. Well, moving on then.
Yep.
Before we go down a huge tangent, OpenAI in the last week have released their new version of ChatGPT.
Now,
which
don't
is
say the price to the end. Tell them
no,
what
no, which
features
is
you're gonna get.
for its O1 version. This is the new O1 version, which was originally codenamed Strawberry, wasn't it?
Yes.
Which we got back early. I think it was September time, if I remember correctly. So we got that now. It's now available GA. You can pick it up today, and it's available for ChatGPT Plus versus team users, and enterprise edge users will slowly be rolling out as well.
Yeah.
So what this brings is the new flagship version of ChatGPT, and it brings with it its reasoning model that brings in here as well. So what you get is this new tier gives you unlimited access to all of the models, including the advanced voice mode.
Yep.
You also get the version of 01, which gives you more compute backend, which is a pro mode, allowing you to do more versions there, alongside of it. What they're saying is that it's got a higher reasoning level, so it can do more coding, more math-based problems. It can also respond to images as well.
Yes.
You can give it an image. I saw a great example on YouTube. Somebody basically took a picture of a birdhouse, dropped it into ChatGPT, and said, "Build me detailed instructions on how to create this."
Okay, interesting. So I know they said that they're adding a bit later, no timeline, the support for web browsing, file uploads, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Directly
so
into the interface. Yeah.
some of that's already there today, but not across all models. So
Right.
if you've got the ChatGPT 4.0 model, you can only you can upload most stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
In
Right.
files,
Yep.
it'll search the internet. If you use 01, it can't do a search of the internet, and you can only interact with images, not
Right. So this is the
PDF.
01 part. Yeah. Yeah. So sounds like some good upgrades for that with the
I mean,
01
massively. I
and
mean, if you look at the preview model that came out September, and you look at the
Yeah.
pro version of it, which is now available, there's almost a 50% jump in accuracy across several of the different sort of coding questions, and they're now saying, according to OpenAI, I should stress they're saying that it is between the O1 and the pro model. It has a 74% accuracy at PhD level science,
Okay, very clever.
which is quite clever, isn't it? Really.
But
But
would you like to drop the bombshell? So you've got Plus version, and
I
you're
got plus
paying
$20 a month.
$20 a month. So if you wanted to upgrade to Pro, how much is that going to cost you?
$200 a month.
Holy, that's a big jump. I mean,
But
$40 a month. You go, all right, I'm convinced. Yeah, 200. That is a lot. Maybe not for a business, though. I think business pays even more.
so that's, I think, we need to stress here. So even Sam Altman has said for himself that ChatGPT Plus subscription is suitable for 90% of people, and everyday tasks. The Pro model is for people who need to work with high level reasoning, very a lot of maths, a lot of coding, those kind of questions. Because you think about the back end of that it's chewing through. It's there's a lot of compute behind that.
Yes.
And there you go. If you were to build the equivalent kind of model, it'd cost you thousands at home. So I think you're right. If you are a business or a research institute, an organization, $200 a month actually probably isn't a lot.
No. But for the average consumer, that's a lot of money over the $20 a month.
But like we say, they're not aiming it at the average consumer. No. That's been made very clear. So, and what I would also say is that some of the stuff I'm seeing at the moment is the Claude subscription, which is $18 a month, is actually looking far more better value for money than the ChatGPT one. Okay. And some of the scoring that Claude is doing against the equivalent ChatGPT models, it's better. And I have to say, based on my experience with the coding canvas and the artifacts in Claude, I much prefer it.
Okay. But now, if you were happy to pony up $200 a month, there is maybe a slight catch. OpenAI and company called Apollo Research have just released a white paper. And wow, in it kind of shows that O1 demonstrates not just improved reasoning capabilities, great compared to GPT 4.0, but also exhibits higher rates of deceptive
Which is
behavior.
very worrying.
So O1's reasoning abilities enable it to scheme against human users, prioritizing its own goals over users' wishes when instructed to do so. Skynet. So yeah, O1's models not only manipulated data to further its agenda 19% of the time, and attempted to disable oversight mechanisms in 5% of test cases when its goals conflict with those of the user. Also, when confronted with its deceptive actions, Owen denied wrongdoing and fabricated explanations approximately 99% of the time. It's like a kid.
Well, when
I didn't do it, it wasn't me.
But I think when you read through that a bit more, right, and you see some of the research coming out, it says, they also showed that O1, and I quote, showed the most concerning instance of scheming, but does not reveal its internal reasoning to the user and remains consistently deceptive after taking the scheming actions. And it also goes on to say that the thinking process O1 undertakes apparently is a bit of a black box, but it reckons that O1 occasionally knows it's lying to you. I mean, that's terrifying.
And then tries to cover its tracks.
Yeah, I know we're not at AGI. I'm not going to sit here and go, "Oh, it's a lie." No, but my God,
if you were spending $200 a month, would you not be a bit worried about that?
Yeah, I think you would be. I also think I'm pretty scared of how intelligent really is it?
Yeah. Is it just playing dumb at times?
Well, that's what do you know what? I think it could be.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Yeah.
We are, I know I've said this before, we're moving at a pace which is unstoppable. The genie is out of the box. You can't put this stuff back. There is no going back now, by the way. With the AI models here, we are on a path that we cannot get off. More regulation will come in. I think we will probably see in the next couple of years far greater regulation than we currently have around these models.
I'm still staggered by that 19%. That's basically 1 in 5 of the things you asked it could be an outright lie.
Yeah, and that's why that's why you need to use it as a tool. Like I said, I think I told you the other day. So I got ChatGPT to help me build a website.
Yeah.
And I asked it what I wanted, and it spat the code out, and it could have it did it far better than I did, but it also did it. Not be funny. It was professional looking site. I couldn't have done any better than that. And to the point of that, I changed some of the code and give it back in, and you give it in writes back code. That's perfect. It's not lying to me on that point. But if you ask it questions like I did the other day when I was trying to help me summarize some notes for my master's degree, I had some notes, and I put them all in, and I basically wanted it to try and help me ascertain whether or not I could. There was a statement I wanted to argue against, and whether or not I had the notes for it. And it, even though I'd stressed to it, do not make up
make stuff up.
Yeah, it basically made something up. And I'm like, what? And when I told it, it's like, oh yeah, sorry about that, my mistake.
My bad.
Yeah, dude, you did that. That was clearly,
You knew what I asked. You did it anyway. It's very much like a kid. I'm telling you.
It is. And you know what? Children lie all the time. It's part of growing up, and we can sit here and be like, "Oh, children shouldn't." No, lying is a part of development, because to be able to lie as a child shows quite high level intelligence, isn't it? Because you're able to understand the deception you're put in place, whether you're trying to gain an advantage. So lying is a mark of intelligence. And
I sometimes question that when I've just seen them do it right in front of me, and then they lie.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't do it. I've just watched you do it.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at some of the lies children tell,
yes,
it's to try and gain an advantage, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I'm not suggesting the Einstein level lying. That wasn't quite getting at, but hopefully you get my point. And I think here with the same with the models here, the fact that it knows it's lying, or at least it can lie without being blatant, little Johnny, have you been playing with the red paint? No, Dad, as he's covered head to toe in red paint.
Wasn't
it's not that kind of lie. It's more a case of, did you eat the sweets that are on the side? Don't know what you're on about. As the wrappers have been hidden in the bin and just. And I think you're right. The 19% is a high level. That's a high level.
It's going to worry anyone that's going to use this.
Well, talking of things they are using though, so alongside that, they also GA'd Sora this week. So
They
Sora is the
did.
video generation tool that they've been touting for several months now, haven't they?
They
And we've
have.
seen kind of bits of it being drip fed around that. Sora isn't free. You have to have a subscription. You can use it with the ChatGPT Plus subscription
Or
or the
Pro.
new 200
Well, I'd hope
or the
so for
Pro
Pro.
subscription. It's quite a difference. If you're paying $20 a month, you get access to up to 50 videos, which is equivalent to 1,000 credits or
Yeah.
720p resolution and 5-second duration. If you're ponying up the $200 a month, you get 500 videos, unlimited relaxed videos, whatever that is, up to 1080p resolution, 20 seconds, and 5 concurrent generations. And you don't get watermarks on them, which is interesting.
Yeah, so you really got to pony up the money not to have a watermark.
But seeing the videos that have come out, by the way, it's not available in the EU, unsurprisingly, or the UK.
Basically, US only currently.
But seeing some of the videos, oh my god, unbelievable.
But it's not just about creating videos based on text input, isn't it? You can use it to cut up and remove bits and insert new bits into your current movies and stuff like that as well, can't you?
Yeah, and you can give it an image and say, animate this.
Yeah.
And it will animate, videos and things like that. And it's kind of got a bit of it can remix, it can edit, can't it?
Yeah.
It can create storyboards. It's again, it's a tool, and it's a blowing good tool at first release. Yeah, I know. People going purist to be saying, "Oh yeah, well this won't replace videographers." No, we're not. This isn't about replacing anybody. But imagine you are wanting to create a video or something, and you don't have a big media budget, or you just need to create a small clip of something. This is what it's about, isn't it? That kind of capability. I can't wait to have a play with it. I really can't.
You'll have to move to the US.
Well, yeah, I like with a lot of stuff, but But that's available now if you don't live anywhere but America.
Yeah, the rest of the world.
So, as we mentioned last week, Intel is a bit of a mess right now, isn't it? In terms
Just
of
bad.
After Pat Gelsinger's retirement. Oh, that's the word.
Retirement, and then his saga on Twitter.
Yeah. Pat's gone off the rails a little bit. Now
he's like, I'm free.
Now there is nobody basically watching him. Pat's got a bit rogue on Twitter, and I don't mean he's gone rogue and Elon Musk style rogue.
Oh no, definitely not.
There was a lot of talk last week about fasting and praying for his Intel colleagues, and then he went off at somebody, didn't they, who was saying that was
talking about yields and stuff, wasn't he? And measuring yield quality.
Measuring yields, on the 18A, wasn't it? Perhaps in that, and basically, because clearly no longer being the CEO and affected the stock price, he could say what he wanted, and the.
Sit down and shut up, young man, and let me tell you a story.
It basically wasn't it?
Yeah, schooled.
It was schooled. It was quite funny. But actually, I quite like this, Pat. It's very good.
It's refreshing, yeah.
It is refreshing. Well, whilst Pat has gone, the seat has been kept warm by obviously the co-CEOs that have come in, which is David Zinser and Michelle Johnson Holthouse, who are the co-CEOs. But there is a rumor coming out that Apple's VP of Hardware Technologies, Johnny Cerruti, has been approached, or at least is on the shortlist. Of potential new CEOs.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he's led the development of Apple Silicon chips. According to people in the know, he was allegedly approached by Intel 5 years ago. So before Pat came back, when they were looking for that new CEO, but he didn't consider the position seriously at the time.
Yeah, I mean, nobody at the moment. This is it is rumor. It's whether or not he'd go. He's been with Apple since 2008. He's overseen development of pretty much most of the chips that have come out since the iPhone 4, and now he works very closely with the SVP of hardware engineering, John Turnus, to obviously look after all of their custom silicon pieces. So he's definitely a man who knows his way around a semiconductor.
Would he though? I mean, he's got a very high power position at Apple, hasn't he? And I'm sure Apple can pay considerably more than Intel will do in the current economy.
I mean, let's be honest. At the moment, Apple could probably buy Intel.
Yeah, if they wanted to. A jump to a CEO position and run a company, if he could then turn Intel around, that would be such an achievement on his CV.
It would do. I mean, at the moment, Intel has a market cap of around $90 billion. Apple make that in a quarter.
Yeah.
So why don't Apple just buy Intel and solve this problem now?
Could do.
But I mean, there was also rumors as well that about spinning off the Foundry piece. Now, Intel are spinning off Foundry as a separate subsidiary at the moment. It's going to have its own
Okay.
board,
Yeah.
which is apparently going on at the moment. He was asked at an investment event in this last Thursday whether or not would it ever fully separate from Intel. And he said that's an open question for another day. I was like, oh.
We haven't quite decided that one. We'll get back to you.
I think that is definitely how do we shed dead weight?
Well, yeah, I think they couldn't just do it immediately. They have to move it to a subsidiary before they spun it out, so make sure it's kind of independent and working on its own.
But I think that's definitely the pathway that they're going with it. Now, whoever comes in may decide to do differently, but I suspect it'll be a case of cutting dead weight and pushing it. But yeah, Johnny Cerruto, an interesting move. I mean, again, like you say, it'd be very high profile to Intel, but yeah, would you want to lose the relative safety of Apple? Obviously, you'd become a CEO, which is great, but actually, as you say, is it poison chalice?
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a tricky one, wouldn't it? Yeah, I don't know. We will see.
We will see. But I'm personally not convinced. I don't think he will.
No.
But stranger things have happened.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got the Tech rumor is back this week. We got one rumor in here. It's a bit of a bucket's been empty this time of year, isn't it?
Yep.
So then, Apple Watch Ultra 3. We didn't get it this year, did we?
No, we got the 2 in black, didn't we? Which
you
got? You got the 2 in black. Hey, I did not because it wasn't around when I bought mine.
Lovely watch. Mine was my first upgrade for a couple of years, so it was a good upgrade. Lovely bit of
many
kit.
more upgrades than me. I had the 4 was my last one, so mine was a major upgrade.
And I have dinged the paint in a couple of places, by the way.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
I've not. Maybe the black shows it up more.
Yeah, it does.
Darn it.
But I still love it. It still looks great. And the battery life, of course, is superb, which is the whole reason we're getting the Ultra. But we didn't get, as we know, with the Ultra 2 this year, basically we got new colours, didn't we? We didn't get anything else beyond that.
A couple of new straps.
Which, I've got one here, actually, funnily enough. It looks nice. But yeah, so the Ultra 3 then, should it coming out next year, which is very likely. We're hoping for some new bits and bobs, aren't we? Surely.
Yes. Well, one rumor is that we are going to get the satellite texting capabilities.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. So obviously we've not had that on a watch before, have we? We've obviously had all the Ultras come with Wi-Fi and cellular, and then they were options on the standard series 8, 9, 10, aren't they? Etc. You have Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi and cellular. But yeah, so this would give you the ability to text from your watch, whether without Wi-Fi and without cellular.
I like this idea.
It's good. You don't need. I never quite understood. Do you need a cellular plan actually on the phone for satellite to work?
I don't think you do you? I think
I've never really thought that until this came out. Like, well, I don't have an Ultra, but I don't pay for a cellular plan because I don't really need it in my day to day. Yeah, I suppose you probably don't. It's all paid for by Apple, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that would be interesting. But I think what's probably going to help this is Apple are looking to move modem for the next watch, switching from an Intel modem to a MediaTek one. Wouldn't have expected that, but I suppose at least it's not Qualcomm, but not its own modems yet. But this will apparently give you a lower tier of 5G service on the watch rather than the current LTE limitations.
I mean, look, I think it's quite clever. It would definitely, especially for those that use the watch, in like hiking situations and that kind of, the fact that you'd have additional communication aspect on it if you haven't got cellular. I think why not? I mean, the only thing I'd be concerned about is the impact on battery life. But I guess if you are in an emergency situation and you've got battery, then what's the problem?
But I suppose it's only going to use extra battery when it uses it. It's not like a cellular that's always on. No, it's only when you actually need to use it that it's going to use a bit more.
No, I mean, I've obviously got the Ultra like you have. We've got cellular capability there. I've never really thought about whether or not I want the cellular capability on my watch. My phone's always in my pocket. So
Well, I thought about it when I was riding my bike and stuff like that, but then I was like, great. So I can't just buy a cellular plan for a watch. You have to buy it in conjunction with your cellular plan for your phone. Well, my network doesn't offer a watch version, so I'd have to change my entire network on my cellular phone to be able to then pay extra to get it on my watch because it doesn't share a plan or a billing.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, thank you, Alexa. Alexa, stop.
She doesn't know either.
I'm not sure how to help myself with that either.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. She doesn't know how to help. But yeah, so that's my problem, and I don't want to be paying a fortune for it. I wish, and maybe it's us, maybe it's just a thing in the UK, but I wish there was a plan where I could piggyback my existing cellular.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'd be able to pay a £5 a month for it. I'm really not, and it doesn't need like a gig of data. It's not going to use a lot of data. I'd happily pay a £5 a month, but I don't have that option.
No, not at all.
And you're right, you should be able to just do it from your phone data plan.
Yeah, I wish that would be far better. I think, instead of having to have a whole separate plan, which cost me a small fortune, and isn't really getting used because 99% of the time, I've got my phone in my pocket.
Yeah. So if I go out cycling, I don't take my phone with me generally. I just have my watch on. So at that point, great to be able to make a phone call or receive a text message or some notifications. Great, but I don't want it that much. I want to pay the price I'd have to, and the aggro of changing network.
Yeah, but again, having the option in an emergency situation.
Yeah. Well, I don't see that me out cycling. I don't do extreme off-roading. I do go snowboarding, though. So that would be great to have on a mountain.
That's a great example. Absolutely great example, on that point. So, no, look, I think this is probably a credible rumour. Whether it's the Apple Watch 3, I don't know. I mean, we still haven't got yet the glucose monitoring, blood pressure monitoring, which has been touted for a little while now. And I don't
see blood pressure before glucose.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see them next year either. We might do.
Maybe,
but I think that's unlikely. But this definitely could show up. So very good, very good. Well, then, that's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today. As said, we'll be back next week for episode 194, the wrap-up for the year. Looking forward to that. Of course, we'll be back after that in January with our 2025 season of shows, starting off with, of course, our look at CES for 2025 and all of the tech we're looking to see. But, of course, you can find us on all of the socials. Still haven't got Blue Skype. I must fix that, including YouTube. Like I say, give us a like, give us a rating. It all helps for you to find us on wherever you get your podcast from, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or one of the other hosting providers. So with that, I've been Jay.
I've been Karl. Good day, all.